What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 44, and we start today's episode off with the new season here with Millwall in our third season of the series. And yes, here we are. The first thing you see is a load of emails, and I just want to say this goes by really quickly because we've got so many emails, so many pieces of business to do. I sped up every single clip, so if you can't keep up, then feel free to just continuously go back and watch it again, and you can see all the business we've been doing, all the emails. But first and foremost, we have 3 players arriving on pre-contracts: Hobbs, João Vitor and Chavez, and they look quite average really, but we expected that. We also got given 2 free agent goalkeepers because our squad wasn't big enough. How embarrassing is that? It's actually quite frustrating, to be honest, because it means that we're going to have to pay their wages and we don't really want them, but sadly that's just one of those things. But the first thing we do is look to try and sign Jack Robinson on a loan deal once again. Have him back for our second season on loan. We've been given a budget of £7.5 million plus 35 grand on a wage budget, so Robinson back on loan will be good for us. Andy Carroll was the first striker I was looking at. Then I was looking at some goalkeepers as well. As I said, this goes by really quickly. I had to speed this up, I'm afraid, because there were so many pieces of emails, and I didn't want to do like 2 episodes just full of emails and no games. So there you go. But also Carroll was the first striker I was looking at. Also Danny Ings as well, someone I've been looking at since the start of the season. John Ruddy, of course, was one of the goalkeepers I was looking at, and Eric Dier of Sporting CP, maybe as a centre half as well. Burnley rejected a transfer for Ings. Actually, all clubs did. Burnley, Norwich and West Ham for all 3 players. Carroll, we then resubmitted a transfer of £3.5 million plus Ojo. We also resubmitted a deal for John Ruddy and also resubmitted a deal for Danny Ings, because Ings or Carroll, like, those are my 2 main priorities for the striker position at the moment. So I'd love to get one of those players in. But Jack Robinson does become the first signing of the season. We've got the left back on loan. He's going to cost us 25 grand a week on a wage budget, which sucks, but at least we don't have to pay his transfer fee just yet, as we don't have too much money to buy him on a permanent deal. And also Ryan Gould has gone out on loan to Stade Brest, so hopefully that will fix his potential growth. He'll be gone for 3 months, and hopefully that will fix the glitch. And we also resubmit deals for Ings and Carroll. We offer Burnley £2 million plus Kim Ojo, and wait to see what happens there. And Norwich once again said the transfer was unacceptable for John Ruddy, which is not a real surprise because they don't want to get rid of him. And West Ham once again said the deal for Carroll was not good enough, and they said if you give us £8 million, we'll accept it. We don't have £8 million, and it's a shame as well, because I'd really like to get Andy Carroll. I really admire him in real life, as you guys probably know, despite playing for Guru West Ham. But I really like Carroll, and it doesn't look like we're going to get him, sadly. We might have to settle for Ings, but I'm pretty sure Ings will be okay anyway. And Gutierrez is not leaving the club. He got a transfer offer there, but I said no way I'm going to let him go of him. And also offered, I think it was £3 million for Danny Ings eventually, plus no one, I think, or I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, £3 million plus no one. And again, the club said the transfers were unacceptable for Andy Carroll, so we just said no. And Burnley also said the transfer offer was unacceptable for Danny Ings, so I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll give you £3 million plus Kim Ojo, because he never really hit the heights last year, and we'll wait and see what Burnley say. And West Ham once again say no to the transfers we're putting in for Carroll. We're not going to be able to afford him. His wages are 45 grand a week, and we can't seem to afford his transfer fee, which is a shame as well, because £8 million would be an absolute steal for Andy Carroll in my opinion, but I don't think we're going to be able to get him. But Burnley did go ahead and accept the transfer offer for Danny Ings of £3 million plus Kim Ojo, so that could be a great deal. We offer him a contract and he goes and accepts it, so it was always going to be one of Ings or Carroll. I wasn't really interested in any more strikers. It was always going to be Danny Ings or Andy Carroll, and it's Danny Ings who we pick up. He's quick, and yeah, he should be quite decent for us really. 3-star skills, 3-star weak foot, absolutely rapid, and some decent finishing on him as well. Only 22 years old too. He's 73 overall, so I'm confident with a couple of good seasons under his belt, he could possibly grow to about a 77, 78, which will be very good news for us. I then went in for some loan deals here. I just went down the list of like some top European clubs, Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund there. I went and saw if I could find some youngsters on loan. Also found a free agent centre midfielder that my scout said was worth about 500 grand, so I thought maybe he could be okay for us. As I said in the last episode, I really want a big squad this year, so signing some players on the cheap on free agents and loans could be really decent for us. And also Gary Medel, we think about him, but I don't think we'll be able to afford him. And Sam Byram as well at Leeds, a right back. Maybe we could get hold of him, but sadly it looks like that's not going to happen. But we do go ahead and get 2 loan deals accepted for The two players whose names I can't really pronounce very well. We also offer Camille Giano. Oh, I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce his name. That Italian CM on the free agents, a new contract. And yeah, we offered those players from Dortmund and Barcelona, those young 17, 18-year-olds, some loan deals for us. Because again, we're in the Europa League this year. We need to make sure we've got a full squad. And even though these players are barely going to get in the side, they will occasionally have to play games. So we need to make sure they don't cost us too much money, but they're good enough to play when we need them. We also pick up a free agent CM, that Italian. He's actually got 5-star skills and he's 66 overall, so actually not that bad, to be honest, as I was expecting him to be terrible, but he doesn't look that bad at all. So yeah, not great obviously for Premiership level, but as a squad player, as a reserve player, I'm perfectly happy paying him basically no wages whatsoever, and he'll just sit in the reserves, and if we ever need to play him, he can play. So there you go. I'm just trying to sort of improve the core of the squad at the moment, and just try and make it as thick as possible. But we offer a transfer for Alex McCarthy and also Alex Smithies of Huddersfield. We'll wait and see if we can get either of those goalkeepers, and also we go back in for John Ruddy. The reason being is because I know you guys want me to replace Nyland. We don't have that much money, of course. We've already bought Danny Ings, and we've also had to adjust the budget to afford Jack Robinson's wages. However, to be honest, I do agree Nyland isn't that great, but I'm not really sure, to be honest, what goalkeeper I want, because like I don't really want to pay like £2 million, £3 million and all of our budget for a goalkeeper who I don't think is going to be that good. But we'll wait and see what happens there. To be honest, there are quite a few goalkeepers I'm looking at: Stockdale, Ruddy, McCarthy, Smithies. There's a few others in this episode as well I'm going for, which you'll see later on. But we'll wait and see what happens. To be honest, I'm happy keeping Nyland, I should say. My priority right now is to get a new striker, which we got in Danny Ings, and the second priority is to thicken the squad. So do I really want to spend my entire budget on a new goalkeeper when Nyland isn't even that bad? I know he's not great, but he's not that bad, so I don't really know, to be honest. Plus we got 2 free agent goalkeepers, and I know they're absolutely terrible, but to be honest, I don't want to have 4 or 5 goalkeepers in my squad, do you know what I mean? So we'll wait and see what happens. But Norwich said he want like 6.25 million for John Ruddy. I was like, Jesus mate, you're having a laugh. And also Stockdale's wages are 35 grand, and I was thinking, really, do I want to pay 35 grand for a goalkeeper who's 29 and probably going to be low 70s overall with barely any potential? I'm not really sure. But we also look at I think it was Perrine and Berkey of Grasshopper, just to see what they'll say. Anthony Lopez as well, of Leon, a Portuguese goalkeeper, but then I saw he's on 60 grand a week, and I was like, well, forget about it, to be honest. So also Kasper Schmeichel as well, another goalkeeper I'm looking at. A big fan of Kasper Schmeichel, of course. His dad was my idol when I was growing up. And also Jason Steele of Middlesbrough, and also Lee Nichols of Blackpool is the last goalkeeper we're looking at here, and possibly shift on Padermo if we're going to get Lee Nichols as well. But again, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. There's a lot I'm thinking of. There's a lot of goalkeepers on my list, but in reality, unless I can get them for like 1 to 2 million max, I don't think I'm going to bid and try and sign them on permanent deals, because I really want to thicken the squad. Because the Europa League, I still want to get far in the Europa League. I'm not just going to put all the kids out. I do want to get far in the Europa League, and it's going to make games so thick and fast. We need to have a big squad to compensate for our fitness problems, because as you saw last year, we had a lot of fitness problems, so we need to make sure that same thing doesn't happen again, because with another competition, it's going to be really difficult for us. But all the clubs say no to the goalkeepers we're offering for, which is not a real surprise, because the goalkeepers are probably going to be pretty okay, like 70s minimum, and with some okay potential. And to be honest, the bids we're putting in are really minimal, and I don't think they're going to accept them anyway. It's just we don't have that much money, like 7.5 million. I was okay with that as a budget, but I would have liked a bit more, and sadly we didn't get given it. We do request some funds very shortly, but again, I'm not entirely sure whether the board will give us any money, and we need a bit more money for this, you know what I mean? Like with the Europa League as well, I was hoping for at least £10 million, but there you go. Blackpool accept the deal for Lee Nichols. We offer him a contract, but again, I'm not really sure how high overall Lee Nichols is. He probably isn't even as good as Nyland, so I thought with that in mind, there's not much point really signing him, to be honest. And we also go ahead and bid for Guillermo as well, £1.5 million plus Gael Padermo, and we also bid for Jan Sommer, a Swiss goalkeeper for FC Basel, and we'll wait and see what happens there. And we do indeed request some funds. I said if you give us £3 million, we will reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, because we got to the final last year, and as you'll see here, they go ahead and say we'll give you 1.257 million. So that's not much. That's not even half of what we asked for, but I didn't really have a choice other than to say yes, really, because we need as many pennies as we can find. So yeah, we accept that deal, and also Padermo, he is going to Birmingham as well, which is fine. He's going to go for 325 grand because he's 66 overall, so he's gone up by 2 since we got him, but like he's not really cut out for the Premiership. So with that in mind, Padermo can go. We'll have a bit more money to work with. We've got, like I say, 2 free agent goalkeepers that just joined the club because our squad wasn't big enough, which is just embarrassing. So thank you very much, EA, for humiliating me on YouTube. But yeah, like the 2 free agent goalkeepers will barely get any game time. Like Padermo barely got any game time. Nyland's our number 1, and Padermo rarely ever played. And those free agents, one of them is 64, which is what Padermo was for basically the first 2 seasons. So with that in mind, like, yeah, we'll just get rid of him. We don't really need him, and there you go. But anyway, the first game of the episode was against Newcastle. We, of course, lost one of our pre-season friendlies against Leverkusen 4-0, and we won one against Stade Brest, I think it was, by 2-0. So with that in mind, we took on Newcastle. I thought I'd include a game in today's episode because I thought, you know, I didn't want to have the whole episode just full of business and no game time whatsoever. We did indeed take on Newcastle United, who I think, if I still got this right, I might be wrong about this, but I think they were the only side we beat away from home last year. I might have got that wrong, but I can't remember. But anyway, the first chance came in the 4th minute. Brian Carrasco came through here, and he got held up by Steven Taylor, who was about to take the shot. I thought the referee was going to give a penalty there as he was tugging his shirt. He started from outside the box, but he only played advantage when he entered the box. So I thought the referee was going to give a penalty, but sadly, it was a free kick, literally right on the edge of the area. And I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, I'm not that great with free kicks. I've only scored 1, and now I've got to take one from literally right next to the goal. Not enough, really, not enough distance for Seb Larsson to get the ball over the wall and into the back of the net. So I decided to try something different. I ended up running over the ball with Kelvin and chipping the ball up in the air for Carrasco on the half volley. And the set piece routine paid off. What a fantastic goal that was. It was wonderful, really. It's the first time in FIFA 14 I've had a goal from a set piece routine, and that was absolutely wonderful. That was a wonderful finish, and no chance for Tim Krul in the Newcastle goal there as the home fans celebrate our first goal of the season just 5 minutes in. Wonderfully worked free kick practice routine, and yeah, the fans are loving it. And Carrasco, it just had to be Carrasco, didn't it? Do you know what I mean? He was our top scorer last year. He's basically the cult hero of the series, and he gets our first goal of the season just 5 minutes in. What a fantastic strike as well it was. And yeah, Carrasco gets the goal, and that makes it Millwall 1, Newcastle 0. So that's great news for us, really. A fantastic strike, and good to take the lead early on, because last year this fixture between us two at the Den finished 0-0, so I was very glad to get an early goal in the game. But yeah, it's 1-0 to us 5 minutes in, and the next chance didn't really come until the 29th minute. Debussy was down the right hand side, he crossed the ball in, and Johannes Kabai's header was easily saved by Nyland. Really nice catch. He throws the ball out to Kelvin. Ings tries to flick it over his head, he loses the ball, but the ball goes back to Steven Taylor, who was having an absolute mare in the first half. He gives the ball away. Danny Ings, starting for Millwall on his competitive debut, has all the pace to get around Yanga and Biwa. Lovely sign of agility and a great finish as well. So Danny Ings, the new signing, £3 million plus Kim Ojo. Quite expensive on the grand scheme of things for a player that's only been in the Championship, but that's a wonderful finish after a lovely show of pace, lovely show of agility, and a great finish too by Danny Ings. So yeah, fantastic finish as well on his left foot, and I actually thought at first Carrasco was going to block this shot and say, nah mate, I'm the top scorer in this team, but nah, Danny Ings gets his first goal in a Millwall shirt, and it was a great show of pace, a great show of agility, and again, a wonderful finish past Tim Krul. And you know, none of our strikers really hit the heights last year, but I'm very hopeful that Danny Ings is going to be the type of striker that gets us around 15 goals a season and be our top scorer. So Ings gets the goal and makes it Millwall 2, Newcastle 0. But how about this? In the 57th minute, Newcastle win a penalty after Fabricio lunges in on his man, and I just had to include this. Are you ever going to see a funnier reaction on FIFA? So Fabricio was not very happy. He was very, very shocked at the decision. I couldn't stop laughing when I saw that. So Fabricio gives away a penalty. I just could not stop laughing when I saw that face. Fabricio gives away a penalty. He is absolutely shocked by it, but the referee was having none of the complaint or the shocked face, and he gives a penalty. Jackson Martinez steps up here against Nyland, and he ends up putting the ball into, well, the side of the net really. It hits the inside of the post and goes into the other side of the net, and that was a real shame as well, because I dived the right way with Nyland, and sadly, when the penalty is that accurate, there's just nothing you can do. You know, I dived the right way. Nyland was at full stretch, but he just couldn't keep it out. The penalty was just way too accurate, and sadly, he just couldn't get his gloves onto the ball. So that makes it Millwall 2, Newcastle 1, but it didn't matter because the game did finish 2-1. So it was quite an uneventful game, really, despite having 3 goals in it. Quite uneventful, but we got the first 3 points of the season in the first game of the season. So I was actually very happy about it. I was, again, disappointed not to keep a clean sheet and give away a penalty like that, but there you go. We won by 2-1, so I'm relatively happy with it, to be honest. It was good to get our first 3 points of the season, and hopefully we will build from there. But anyway, the clubs came back to us and said no and no and no. We are not letting our goalkeeper go, and also Lee Nichols declined the contract, but as Perdermo is most likely going to Birmingham, this deal means nothing, because of course Perdermo was included in the transfer for Lee Nichols. I don't really want him that much anyway, and Perdermo does indeed go to Birmingham for 325 grand, and it just gives us a few more pennies to work with, really. Not a lot, but it just means we've got a bit more to work with. And again, like, I'm going in for all these goalkeepers. Yeah, I'm still not sure whether I'm going to sign him, because, to be honest, I'm still a lot more interested in strengthening the core of the side and getting a thicker squad as well. I don't mind buying a new goalkeeper. I don't even think Nyland's that bad, to be honest. I don't want to sell him. I'm perfectly happy keeping him as a backup goalkeeper anyway, and I don't really think we need to sign a new goalkeeper. Like, the issue last year was not with our goalkeeper. The issue last year was that we didn't score enough goals. Now we've got Danny Ings in the squad. We've got a fantastic front three of Carrasco, Ings and Kelvin. I think we're okay. You know, it would be nice to get a new goalkeeper in the 70s, but I know Nyland's not growing. I do know that, and I do know it's very frustrating for you guys to see a goalkeeper that's only 69 rated in the Premier League who, you know, quite frankly, doesn't really have the stats of a goalkeeper that I would want in this division, and also someone that doesn't seem to be growing, but he's not as bad as you guys seem to be making him out to be. So yeah, like, if we can get a new goalkeeper on the cheap, then I'll be happy with it, but anything over 2.5 million, I don't really think I want to sign him. So we'll wait and see what happens. And to be honest, my other targets really are to get another right back, because of course Alan Dunn's gone out on loan now, because let's face it, he's not good enough for the Premiership. And you know, probably get another right back as a backup right back, as understudy to Eden Nilsson, with someone with potential, and also possibly a reserve winger. You know, and since we've only got 3.5 million. I think it's probably a bit more beneficial for us to actually look and try and you know, strengthen the overall depth of the squad. You know, not just a goalkeeper who's, you know, this will mean we've got 4 goalkeepers at the end of the day. I'm trying to sell on those free agent goalkeepers on loan, but no clubs seem to want them. So with that in mind, I don't know. It's really complicated. Once again, like last year we had no money. It was really difficult for us, and this year it's kind of similar. We have got a little bit of money. We've been able to pick up one of our targets. We've also been able to pick up Jack Robinson on another loan deal. But again, we don't really have that much money to work with. And it's still kind of complicated for us. So it is kind of difficult. But hopefully, once again, it's a bit more challenging for me. And hopefully that's what you guys seem to enjoy. You guys seem to enjoy the challenge last year. And hopefully you guys will seem to enjoy the challenge this year of having European football with a very thin squad. But anyway, guys, as always, a big thank you for watching today's video. I do apologise. So many things went by quickly. But I had to do it, otherwise we'd have like a 50-minute episode of just transfers. But thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, and I will see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.